You know, when you're using the improved stove, the smoke goes out and you don't get into contact with it, you don't inhale it.
Among the top 10 diseases that we had last year, respiratory tract infection was second, malaria being first.
We realized that it would consume less wood fuel, almost half of what the traditional 3 stones consume. I know if most people will adopt the use of the stove, I'll be in business, as well as the potter, as well as the tinsman. So the whole idea of the project is to use the locally available materials, like the clay that is easily collected from the riverbank, and the wood fuel that can be collected by the community. And again, this one is important because we are using the locally available material, the local potters, and this one is also empowering them economically. And this is what the project is also focusing on. The project is mainly focusing on the poor subsisting communities because these are the people who mainly use the wood fuel as their major source of fuel, of cooking, or their major way of cooking. They mainly use the 3 stones. When you look at the other groups or other classes of people, you will find others have kerosene stoves, others have gas cylinders for cooking, but there is a group of people who cannot afford the kerosene stoves, they cannot afford the gas stoves. So what they can use is, the best they can do is to use the charcoal stove, which actually leads a lot of environmental degradation. So we saw it would be better if we introduce something that is very affordable to them, something that is quite local, something almost similar to what they are using, that will not need any further instruction or introduction to it. Because if it is the use of wood fuel, they have been using it since time immemorial. That is why we decided to design something similar to what they are using. The whole business idea, the whole business plan is to use the seed money to buy the stoves and sell it to the communities who need them. And then I later on get the payment back, the payback, then reinvest the same money to buy more stoves. So that I can sell to other communities also. Well, I'm focusing mainly on groups, a group of people in a community, especially well-organized groups that are registered, because it is easier to deal with a group than to deal with an individual. We don't have a guarantee. It is like a soft loan that we are giving to them. So what we are banking on is the goodwill and the kind of organization structure that they have as a group. So if you are dealing with a group, you know you will be dealing with the chairman, the treasurer, and the secretary. So you leave all the work to the leaders of that group. So when you go, you talk specifically to the leaders, and if they call all the members, they will actually respond. And again, in the groups, they know themselves better than I do.
The payback period depends on the group. It depends on how they get their cash, the cash flow of the area. Because in our area, the cash flow is not very reliable. So if you give them ample time, it becomes easy for them to get the stove and to pay it. We get a lot of hardship in acquiring the fuel wood, but they realize that with the improved stove, it uses very little fuel wood. It's very economical. So if we try telling them the goodness, or if we try comparing the quantity of the fuel you can use when you're using the improved stove and the normal 3 stones, they note the difference. So you find that you convince them easily. Then secondly, they've also known that given that the smoke goes directly outside when you're preparing your meal, they don't inhale it directly. Because if they inhale it directly, it gives them a lot of side effects. So if we try telling them this one, they also see it practically, that their lives have really improved. The tendency of going to see the doctor every now and then has reduced because they don't inhale the smoke directly as they used to inhale before.
Now, a lot of cases that we find around here, many a times you have cases of respiratory diseases, and we can attribute these to the presence of smoke, because the native community around here use charcoal and sticks to cook. So many a times you find this produces a lot of smoke, and the smoke can be harmful to their health.
Okay, the situation on the ground now is that the local people now, they have to buy the fuel wood, the firewood, for their day-to-day use. Unlike in the past when the firewood was readily available. So it would be very important for them to have the energy-saving stoves, like the one we are trying to promote. We realized that our stove was using almost half of what the 3 stones is using. And this one was of economical benefit to the people and the community that would be using the stove. Well, there is the environmental aspect, in the sense that in so using the fuel-conserving stove, we will reduce drastically the amount of wood or the trees that we fell for the wood fuel. And if we are doing this to a number of people in a community, which means the rate at which they will be felling the trees will reduce drastically. And this one will go a long way in conserving the trees. And that is one way of conserving the environment.
Okay, it is just simple like this one here.
So the improved stove has really improved our lives, as the name suggests, because we've realized that it economizes a lot of fuel wood, and it also helps us, especially health-wise, because it has reduced the cause of the alarming situation of maybe chest problems and coughs that were experienced in that area.
Most of the subsisting farmers, they don't have their own tree plantations for the wood fuel. They mostly buy it. So when they are using the improved stove, they will be cutting down the amount of money that they use in buying the wood fuel. Once the stove is installed, you have to keep on making close follow-ups to see whether they are really using it, and to hear from them, are they really appreciating that the stove is working well? Is it better than the old one that they had? And that one will give you the morale, or will give them the morale to pay you back, because they are appreciating that, okay, it is better than what we had. So in that way, you don't go once you have delivered the stove. You have to make a very close follow-up to make sure that the stove is being used and they are taking good care of it. And you know that you will get your money back. I would like to see a future whereby everybody is using the smokeless kitchen, whereby they don't have to go to the hostel every now and then with the smoke-related problems. I would like to see a future whereby the environment is conserved because of the better use of the available wood resources instead of the way it is being used now. And I would like a situation whereby the project is spread all over the country so it can benefit everybody, the subsisting communities across the country. That would be my vision. Yeah.